And bam, bam, bam. What is up? And welcome back to Nando Talk. We've got an edition of a new webcam because I normally use my phone, but it is not working right now. So we are testing out this new little webcam I bought. Don't know how much better it is. The lighting is a little bit different. Was trying to get the knack of it down, but hey, so I apologize for a little bit of the technical difficulties because today on Nando Talk, we're going to be having a quick talk about some dominoes that have been falling in the NFL and how it's going to be affecting the Miami Dolphins. Sean Payton has gone to the Denver Broncos. He was actually traded there from the Saints for a 2023 first-round pick, our first-round pick that we sent to the Broncos for Chubb, and a 2024 second-round pick. The Saints sent the rights to Sean Payton and a third-round pick as well. It's a bit of an interesting trade. I believe it's a little bit of an overpay, but hey, glad it wasn't the Dolphins making that move. We ride on to McDaniel year two, and we'll talk a little bit more about Sean Payton. Hopefully also let me know how this camera is looking right now. I didn't even get to test it. I'm just using it because my phone's not working, but hey, we're here to rock. The second thing we're going to be talking about is also, Demeco Ryan has left San Francisco 49ers. He's no longer defensive coordinator. He has taken the Houston Texans job. He signed a 6-year deal. Very interesting considering that the last two coaches they've had have been fired after a year. They have not had a lot of stability there. Demeco Ryan is staking his future there. I hope the best for him. He did play for the Texans in the past, so it makes sense for him wanting to go there. Maybe he's got some unfinished business there, but it should be very interesting indeed. What is up, boss man Woodson? Thanks for tuning in. Freddie, hey, thanks for listening right now. We're doing well. Looks good. It looks good. Hey, that's all I got to know. It's just a little Logitech webcam. Very simple. I just wasn't able to test it out beforehand, so I was a tad nervous. But thank you guys for tuning in. That makes me feel a lot better. It's going to be a very nice, high-energy WAKATA Wednesday. Demeco Ryan's leaving San Francisco, though. It does leave up a defensive coordinator job. The reason why I'm talking about these coaching moves, and we will talk about Tom Brady, of course, in a little bit and how that affects some QB talk. But the reason why I'm talking about the coaching moves is because Sean Payton to the Broncos, Demeco Ryan to the Texans, creating that opening in San Francisco. Vic Fangio is still not signed with the Dolphins. It's still up in the air. We still don't know what's going on. And more, it seems to be drumming up news, linking him up to other teams. Now, should we as Dolphins fans feel upset? Should we be concerned? Should we be worried? We'll talk about it in a second. He's so far being paired up to the Broncos, despite being a head coach there before. Sean Payton is very interested in Vic Fangio. He could call him there to be defensive coordinator. And there's been talks linking him to San Francisco 49ers as an interesting job for Fangio as well. Shanahan is someone who covets Fangio, hence why McDaniel and Fangio seem to have a good relationship. Now, what does this mean for the Dolphins, guys? I truly believe that, Vic Fangio, he's agreed to terms. It's not happened yet because job's not finished. Okay. He is still part of the Philadelphia Eagles. They still have to play in the Super Bowl. Yes, he's only their defensive consultant. He could leave if he wanted to and continue, but job's not finished. He put in work to help that defense in Philadelphia get molded into one of the best defenses in the NFL. That is a defensive line that had 70 sacks, was playing tight, awesome defense the entire year, and honestly just throttled the 49ers. We just saw what they did. Fangio has a job to complete there. The day that they win the Super Bowl or finish the Super Bowl, whatever it may be, the day afterwards, I have to believe that Vic Fangio will let the world know what is his decision. Unfortunately, until then, we won't know. The frustrating thing that will actually happen, though, is if he does go to San Francisco, he does go to Denver, even if it's just for interviews, it's beyond frustrating because it's like, hold up, man. Like, you told us you were coming here. You promised us you were here. We had agreed to terms. We have given you this promise of money. Are we not good enough? I don't like being anybody's second choice. I'm a positive guy, but I get it. Why that's a little bit of a slap to the face a little bit. That being said, until that actually happens, it's all just rumors. It's all just speculations. Okay. We haven't officially agreed anything with Fangio, so maybe he doesn't really owe us anything, but he also hasn't really screwed us over. He hasn't gone to these other interviews. He hasn't done anything because he's still with the Eagles. It's a big, frustrating question mark, and these domino effects are happening. Okay. Demeco Ryan's going to Houston does create that San Fran job, and Shanahan, he does covet Mr. Fangio. That's why McDaniel also likes Fangio. They have that relationship from Kyle. It's a move that could be very interesting. Supposedly, it's a place he's wanted to go to for years. I don't really see him going to Denver. If he does go somewhere, I could see maybe San Fran. Denver's a place where he was the head coach there from 2019 to 2021. It's why we like him in Miami. He's got some experience with Bradley Chubb. He can hopefully activate him and shape him up back into form. I don't see him going as whatever his connection with Sean Payton is. I don't see that being enough to say, hey, the team that fired me as a head coach, let me go back to them and pretend like I'm going to just take this smaller office. Don't worry, Sean. You take the big room. I'll teach you the lay of the land. I used to be the big boss here. Now I am the assistant coach. I just don't see that happening. Not at his age, not at the stage of his career. Fangio's a man who could choose and pick where he wants to be a coach. I don't think he'd want to choose the smaller office in his old room. It just doesn't really make sense at all. How's it going though? CT, what's good? Us, man. Mr. Cypher Trophy. It's been a while, man. We're good. We're good to go right now. Carlos, thank you for tuning in right now. Woodson as well, man. We are good to go. Hey, man, everyone has their own cup of tea. Everyone has their own flavor, man. Everyone can choose how they fan. I like to give a little bit of a positive spin on things. You know, there's a lot of quarterback talk we can talk, and I will talk about Tom Brady and his retirement a little bit more towards the end of the show. And tomorrow on Tinfoil Hat Thursday, which should always be a fun time indeed, I'll throw on the tinfoil hat, and I will talk about, too, we're talking about clearing up the concussion, what that means for the Dolphins. I will talk about Tom Brady's retirement. I think it's his official retirement. But we'll go down that rabbit hole. Lamar Jackson, the rumors of him going for the franchise tag and maybe agreeing to deal with the Ravens. The talks of them the Packers wanting to move on from Rodgers. Some talks saying he wants to stay. We'll cover all that on Tinfoil Hat Thursday. Everybody can choose how they run their show, how they fan, man. When I speculate, I like to throw on the tinfoil hat and let it ramble, but let people know ahead of time. I am not spinning no conspiracies, no speculations, unless one of you guys know. Until then, we continue with the positive spins and the positive vibes, guys. So thanks for tuning in. But I'd love to comment on Tua. We probably will, man. We probably will in a little bit, man. I'm going to be talking a little bit quarterback towards the end once I finish down the little Fangio spiel. We're probably going until 12, and then we'll be good to go, man. Probably drop the link too. I haven't in a while, so it'd always be a fun time, man. But Fangio. I understand the frustrations, guys. The only hope was that maybe tomorrow, before they go into full Super Bowl mode, he lets everyone go, hey, this is a distraction. I want to let you know I'm going to be a Dolphin, or I'm going to be signing with Sean Payton, or I'm going with my buddy Kyle Shanahan, or I'm staying with the Eagles, or whatever it may be. There could be a small chance that Fangio does alert us of that decision tomorrow. But it's okay, man. Like, at the end of the day, if he does give us that news, that confirmation, it'll let us sleep right. It'll sleep a little easier one way or the other. But if he doesn't give us that news because he's preparing for Super Bowl mode, he's job not done, he's on that Kobe mode, he wants to focus on the task at hand, can't blame him. I'd want him to have that same level of dedication and poise for the Miami Dolphins. If, for example, he was our defensive coordinator, we're going on a Super Bowl run next year, and he's being asked to be a head coach again. I would want Fangio to give it all our attention to the team that he's currently on. So I'll respect what he's doing with the Eagles for now. Like I said, if he starts going behind the Dolphins' back and starts meeting with everyone, him there and other, that's not cool. Okay. That's like saying, hey, you and I, we're going on a date. We're going to the big dance this weekend, but on Tuesday and Thursday, I'm going to go see Sally and Lizzie and all these other people. No, that's not correct, Mr. Vic. Okay. You're taking us to the dance, you said. We already paid the big money. Give us for a spin, man. Don't show us up to everyone else, man. I don't rock with that, Mr. Fangio. Terrible analogy, but we'll go with it for so far. Not my best work, but hey, I digress, man. Back to the situation at hand. Until something concrete comes to them actually meeting with other teams, I am not worried. I will still go into this thinking that we got Fangio. There's been a great point being made that other teams have scheduled multiple interviews with other candidates in the event that Fangio doesn't go to them or anything happens. The Dolphins have stood very pat. Okay, we brought a little bit of our in-house candidates. We asked for Fangio to be talked with, and we asked for Desai. And that's it. Okay. We're either going for Fangio or Fangio Jr., in my opinion. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with either snagging the big dog, the established coordinator, the guy, the veteran who is able to bring an immediate culture change, the guy who designed the scheme that is so successful throughout the NFL, that has inspired so many of his disciples to carry on the torch and to bring that defensive spark to their teams as well. Yes, I would love to bring the mastermind behind all that, of course. But in the event that we get stiffed, in the event that he starts playing a little nasty with us, snip, snip, snap, snap, bro. Cut ties with that. Like I said, I am no one's second option ever, ever, ever. Positive dude, but there are plenty fish in the sea, and dolphins eat fish. So let's rock and roll, man. If we got to go with the young baby Fangio, we got to go with the mini Vic, and we have to go with his latest disciple, Sean Desai, a man who has done some great work, a great mind, potentially the next great defensive mind if all pans out. You know, we're positive, Nando. We go for that positive view. If we could go for a young 39-year-old defensive coordinator to pair up with the young offensive mind that is McDaniel and carry that torch for years, I'm okay with that. And I think that youthful energy, that spark would be a room that has not been seen in this NFL yet. And let's rock and roll. We get Fangio. I hope McDaniel and Fangio are the Sean McVay and Wade Phillips, except actually win a Super Bowl and not go with a little 13-3 L in the big bowl. We'll see how it all shakes down for the Dolphins, but I am not overly worried. I'm not overly concerned. James Santos, how's it going? Rock and roll. Yes, I'm down for. Oh, thanks, man. I didn't really read that. Got a new computer. Finally found you again. I appreciate you for finding me, man. Thanks for it's always lovely to run into some familiar faces again, man. There we go. I'm for him or Lovie Smith. Agreed, man. Before Mike Zimmer had gone to Colorado, I was down for him as well. The reason we've been pounding for Fangio, the reason I'm down for a guy like Lovie Smith, maybe even a guy like Todd Bowles, the reason why we wanted Jim Schwartz before he went to the Browns. I want these big established names, men who know their job, because as much as I was just singing the praises of Sean Desai, and as fun as that would be to have these young, tantalizing minds developing our team for years to come, having a veteran defensive coordinator, maybe even a guy, especially with head coaching experience, maybe Lovie Smith would be telling McDaniel what not to do instead of what to do. But still, you know, having these older minds that are already established in their ways could be a good thing for the Dolphins. Okay. For the offense, we got to see McDaniel breathe some new life in to inspire with his youthful energy. Okay. On defense, when we already have so much talent, so many established players, and then we've got some good, you know, young defensive assistants, I want to see a veteran come and tie it all together, put it all in there, not learn on the fly, not be growing under his own wings, not figuring himself out, you know, which, hey, maybe John Desai hits the ground running. Maybe he has growing pains. I don't want that. I would, in an ideal world, have a veteran who's ready to go, hit the ground running, and unleash a defensive beast that utilizes all of our talented players, whether it's the guys who were on the field last year or the ones returning from injury or some guys we snag in the draft or some year two leaps, whatever it may be. Take those defensive pieces, get this jumbled jigsaw puzzle. Okay, we've got the edges, we've got the borders of the puzzle. We've just got to continue filling it in, and I need it filled in quick, fast. Once we see that big picture, once you put that final jigsaw piece in, boom, it's all over. Okay, we'll have a top 10 offense paired with a re-energized, reorganized top 10 defense, hopefully. Okay, Fangio, when he comes in, he bumps up, shoots up defenses, usually 10 spots in the rankings. Okay, but any veteran will find these pieces, will be licking their chops and say, this is a team where I can revamp my career. I can repoise myself to spring shot and go to these new heights. So no, I don't believe any of that talk of, oh, nobody wants to come to the Dolphins. Oh, yada, yada. We're not an interesting spot. No, it's Miami. Okay. City alone, energy alone. Who wouldn't want to come here? But the pieces on defense, the toys a defensive coordinator can have to play with. Yes, Vic Fangio is my number one option. A lot of our number one options, by all means, ends and purposes, it seems like we're supposed to get him. But if we don't, and if he's hard to get, like I said, snip, snap, move on to the next beautiful fish in the sea. And we're ready to go, man. This is a spot. This is a team that any defensive coordinator who's a veteran who comes in, who's worth his salt, can take these toys and make some noise. And I'm so excited for that. Oh, baby. I think he was wise getting McDaniel, man. Ooh, baby, we're good to rock. As long as Greer's wise, we'll be fine with whoever we get, man. And that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of talk of we shouldn't want to trust this Dolphins organization. We shouldn't be this. We should be concerned. We should be fearful. Understandably so. Okay, they have held our hopes up high and then dashed them many a times in the past. But there have been those great moves as well. And don't let the fear of the past cloud the bright spots that we have seen so far. The McDaniel hiring has been a good one so far. And if we get a great mind on defense to pair up with him so that he doesn't have to worry about that side of the ball, so he can only worry about offense, so he can only worry about that being his baby, and he knows that defense is in good hands, I'm all for it, guys. And I'm very excited, man. I'm very excited indeed for the future of the Miami Dolphins. So much, in fact, that for those listening right now, I did upgrade my season tickets. Bada bing, bada bang. I was in a row of 6 with me and 5 of my buddies this year, section 349. We have upgraded to section 138. This is the view of the seats. It's absolutely awesome. My buddy Zach sits in this section already. Shout out him. He's in row 27. So 4 of my buddies moved to row 28. Me and the other ticket on my account moved to row 29. So we're like in a big row. It should be a big fun time indeed. And I'm beyond pumped. I've been a season ticket holder for 4 years. I've never sat in the lower section consistently. I sat there one time last year. But to finally be able to do this, to finally be able to work for it and grind with it, and to me and all my buddies be in the same situation that we can do it together as well is an awesome feeling. Shout out Nathan, Drew, Tommy, Alan, and George, Mr. Big Cuban himself. We're joining Zach and the other Nathan. We're going to be going down there. We're going to be having a fun time indeed. The seats are freaking beautiful, freaking fantastic. 138 IM seats. Bada bing, bada bam. On row 29, seat 16, row 29, seat 17. So I'll be trying to, maybe do a giveaway next year at one point, at least for the preseason for sure. But see if any of my buddies aren't going to the games, buy them out for it, and maybe do a little bit of a little raffle, come to a game with me. It'd be so much fun to sit down there and absolutely vibe out with everybody. An awesome time indeed, man. The Miami Dolphins, they've got me pumped, man. Like, it's a lot of people are fearful, a lot of people are doubting, and I'm doubling down, man. I've literally doubled my season ticket price because I believe in this team. I'm so confident that no matter what happens, we're going to shake it out, man. I'm pumped. Oof. Wow. Not all doom and gloom indeed, man. I am excited for the future of this team. Whatever we get, defensive coordinator, whatever we get, as long as they're able to use these pieces that we have on defense, unleash our boys. Christian Wilkins is coming off one of the best, if not, one of the best, maybe the best interior defensive lineman performance we've seen this side of Aaron Donald. He is a man who's breaking records in the NFL for most tackles by an interior defensive lineman. He's going to be on this team for a long time to come, with all hope. Zach Sealer taking another step to unlock, man. If Bradley, if he continues to cement himself on this team, Phillips goes for a year 3 massive leap after continuously almost getting there once again. Xavier Howard may be fully healthy. The pieces on the secondary returning, man. It is not all doom and gloom at all, Don. I love your sunshine emoji, your sunshine profile picture. It is freaking awesome, man. It always makes me smile, always makes me a little cheerful. And so there we go, man. Freaking pumped. We bought him for 4 years and we drafted him. Exactly, man. It's all good. Injuries are a part of the game, and it's something we'll be talking about tomorrow, Woodson, on Tinfoil Hat Thursday with the quarterbacks. But 14 starting quarterbacks got hurt this year. It's something absolutely ridiculous. We had Mac Jones, Zach Wilson, Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson, Ryan Tannehill, Matt Ryan, Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, Trey Lance / Jimmy G. Both of them got injured, but, starting quarterbacks. Matt Stafford, Kyler Murray, Justin Fields, Marcus Mariota, obviously Tua Tagovailoa as well. All got hurt. All faced injuries, okay? And I'm not even going to go into the backups who replaced some of these guys who also went down at times as well. It's ridiculous to sit here and believe that quarterback is the one position that is not allowed to get hurt. Obviously, it is the position that hurts the most when there's an injury, and it is the position that, will get the most criticism when a player receives an injury. But to sit here and pretend that other players don't get injured, that the Dolphins are the only one who have a quarterback gets injured, when, mind you, we all three of our quarterbacks this year got injured, and it's something we've got to address, which is why we're going to have to talk about backup quarterback again and again tomorrow on Tinfoil Hat Thursday. We'll talk about it. But quarterbacks get hurt. They go down. They get injured. They get banged up, man. It's ridiculous to sit here and just assume that it's a one-time thing. It's a thing that only happens to Tua. Is it concerning that it happens to him? Of course. Should we expect better? Of course. We can hold him to a high standard. But it was a bunch of concussions. It's not any of these knee injuries, these toe injuries. Some of these players are having surgery. Kyler Murray might not be back till mid-year. Lamar Jackson played his second season in a row where he only played 12 games. Like, it's concussions. It is something that the doctor has said is not hopefully something that he's not more susceptible to, more prone to than any other players in the NFL. We'll see how it goes. We should prepare for all eventualities, but that is why we talk about backup quarterback. That is why we talk about the backup position. It is because 14 out of 13 of the starting quarterbacks in the NFL got hurt. Almost half the league played with backup quarterbacks at some point in this season. So let's prepare for that eventuality. Okay. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm not saying it sucks, but dang, man. Yeah, exactly. Either players went down with injury or they played through them. They played banged up. And it's a testament and a credit to them. And it's like Sam Madison said, some players can play through injuries, some can't. But that is one of the biggest things about concussion. Could we get mad when Tua had, rib injuries and finger injuries? He didn't play through those? Sure, because at the end of the days, those are basically pain tolerance, okay? But with the concussion, you literally don't have the choice, okay? The NFL puts you in a protocol, and that is that, okay? It is not a toughness thing. He just got out of it today, and whether it's the Dolphins holding him out to miss the Pro Bowl on purpose or whether they just want to be extra cautious with him, it's why it's a conversation for Tinfoil Hat Talk. So tune in tomorrow at 1:30 to 3. It's going to be a fun hour and a half, maybe 2 to 3. We'll see how much. I'm going to plan it out tonight, and I'll make the stream, but it's going to be a fun one. It's going to be crazy. Of course, Santos, like, he's missed a bunch of games in the last 3 years, and that's what I'm saying. It is something we have to be concerned of. It is something that we have to take seriously. But that's why I think we should invest in a backup quarterback. That's why I would have been down to make a free agency move or a trade that doesn't totally mortgage our future. But when I try to talk about backup quarterback, when anybody tries to talk about backup quarterback and they get the Dolphins want to talk about backup, most teams have to play with their backup. Tyler Huntley went to the Pro Bowl this year because Lamar Jackson missed enough games that Tyler Huntley had to play and made the Pro Bowl. Okay, which one also goes to show how much of a joke the Pro Bowl is, because Tyler Huntley is through 2 touchdowns, the fewest touchdowns ever by a Pro Bowl quarterback. But that's not the point of this conversation. It's like, we probably can't win a Super Bowl if he keeps missing these games unless we prepare by building a perfect team with an absolutely incredible running game, wide receivers who can carry a backup quarterback, having a backup quarterback who is competent and is established and knows the playbook and has plenty of poise, doesn't get rattled in the big moment, having a heart-stopping, lights-out defense plotted and commanded by a mastermind defensive coordinator. Those are how you win a Super Bowl. The Eagles, the Niners are teams built in that fashion. Now, it's easier said than done. Obviously, it sounds funny. It's so hard to find a generational quarterback, but it almost feels easier to find that awesome QB than it is to build this perfect roster. But we are closer probably to building an elite roster than we are to magically getting an elite quarterback. I have a Tua jersey there. I like Tua. I'm not going to sit here and joke around like he is this elite top 2 quarterback in the league of the Patrick Mahomes ilk, or even of the builds of a guy like Josh Allen. I'm not saying Josh Allen's success has been much to talk about, neither has Justin Herbert, but you know what I'm talking about. Those amazing, off the charts, tantalizing skills, the arm strengths of Rodgers, things like that. I'm not saying Tua is that player. But to sit here and say Tua is bad is also ridiculous, okay? What he has is an injury problem, a durability problem. Is it a problem that can be mitigated by having a good backup plan, literally having good backup quarterback, a guy of the nature of a Gardner Minshew, of a Baker Mayfield, Tyler Heineke, maybe even expanding and going down the road of a Jimmy Garoppolo? Of course, that is all fine and dandy, and it is probably the safest thing for the Dolphins to do. But tomorrow, we're going to talk a lot more about that. The Dolphins do have a lot to look at the quarterback position, man. But defensive coordinator, please comes first, whether it's Fangio, Desai, Lovie Smith, whoever it may be. I'm down for it, man. Exactly. Gardner, cheap and decent backup, a guy who is young enough that he has a little bit of upside, can maybe push not only Tua, but Skylar as well, whatever they shake down as QB1, 2, and 3, because I do think we're going to roster 3 quarterbacks this season. Just like, the 49ers did that with Trey Lance, Jimmy G, and Brock Purdy. But we can make some moves still. And tomorrow I'll have a better list. I'll have a little bit more comprised. But if we're talking about quarterback right now, I'll start wrapping up the show by talking a little bit of Tom Brady talk. Tomorrow will be a longer stream, so I'll drop the link. So I apologize for that. Tom Brady officially retired from the NFL, man. It's crazy. The last of the quarterbacks of when I grew up, I'm 24 years old, has officially retired. Maybe Aaron Rodgers is Matt Ryan, Joe Flacco, I guess. Wasn't necessarily my entire life growing up, but I remember them coming in the league. I remember it changing, but Brady was always that constant, for him to retire part 2. And for those who didn't see the video, Tom Brady is in a beach. I think they said it's in Miami. He comes onto the beach. He's clearly been emotional, and he just says, hey, I'm retiring. No long paragraphs. I believe players, you get that one emotional paragraphs once in your career. I had it last year, and now it is time to retire. I'm paraphrasing, of course, but that's the gist of what he said. It's an incredible career. Hate the player, respect the man. He is obviously undoubtedly one of the greatest, if not the greatest player of all time, throughout quarterback. What Tom Brady has done cannot and will not be replicated. It's one of the reasons why when I brought up that injury list, a lot of the people were saying, well, what about Tom Brady? He never got hurt. You cannot compare Tom Brady. You cannot compare quarterbacks to Tom Brady. It's just not fair. It's like comparing receivers to Jerry Rice. Like, it's Tom and Jerry, cartoon characters and epic football players, icons, idols that will never be replicated. Okay. They are the anomalies of the anomalies. Their careers are the outliers of the outliers. And what Tom Brady has done, 7 Super Bowls, will probably never be copied again. Maybe Patrick Mahomes can do it, and he'll have to win this year to even have a shot. It is an absolutely unreal, unheard of thing. But Tom Brady has retired. Believe it or not, I'm going to believe the words that came out from his mouth. I do have to believe that if the Dolphins had communicated interest with him, Tom would have never retired. So for all intents and purposes, looks like he's done. Looks like he's out of here. And I think it's for the best for Tom, he had a great statistical season. The Bucs did go 8-9. They did lose to the Cowboys in the playoffs. And Tom, for once, did look mortal at stretches this season. Was he still an amazing above average quarterback? Of course. Was he still someone you'd want on your team and he can improve your team? Of course. Was Tom Brady anymore? No. And I don't want to see him what happened to Peyton Manning, who at the end of his career, yes, he got to go out on a Super Bowl, but you saw very, very very mortal Peyton Manning looked at in his last year. Tom will hold that illusion a little bit. He retires as one of the best players of all time, but he will not be a Miami Dolphin. I'm totally okay with that. The only thing frustrating is that I was a person who did not want to trade for a QB because I don't want to mortgage our entire future for a guy like Lamar Jackson, who, like I said, 12 games the last 2 seasons, wants a massive contract and hasn't proven that he's any less injury prone than Tua. Rodgers is one of my favorite players ever, who slowly I've started to dislike a little bit more as his antics have grown and grown. I don't really see him being a Miami Dolphin, but if he does, we'll have to trade the farm for him. And it's not something I want to truly commit to as well. It'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. So Brady was the free agent option. He was the guy who, if we wanted to improve at quarterback, we wanted to move on from Tua time. Like it or not, I'm a fan who's going to support whatever the Dolphins do. If we got Brady, I would have understood. He's retiring. It looks like we didn't make a move for him, or no move's going to happen, and I'm okay with that. Like I said, tomorrow we're talking about Tua because Brady retired, Tua cleared concussion protocol, and a big changes are happening to the Dolphins. We probably won't know about Vic Fangio. If we do, I'll talk about that as well in the video. But Tinfoil Hat Thursday is going to be a big quarterback talk. Okay, free agency We will not be able to get a starting quarterback in free agency. We'll be getting backup quarterbacks in free agency. Whether we get a Lamar or an Aaron Rodgers, we'll probably have to move on from Tua at that point. Well, we will need a new backup quarterback still, okay? Because Rodgers and Lamar have had injuries in their past, okay? If we are trading all these assets, I don't want a simple injury to a quarterback to end everything. So we better be prepared. We better swing for the fences, get a lot of stuff. You should appreciate how important it is for a Q1 to be available more than a dozen or so games. Oh, love on them. Brady's done with football, and you know what else? I didn't get the gist of that argument, but hope we're all doing good, guys. I always love talking to Dolphins fans right now. Sorry for not paying too much attention to the chat. I was reading some stats, reading some notes, and I got very into it. You know, Tinfoil Hat Thursday is going to be a longer stream. I'm going to be making the room now and to finish the episode. It's going to be at least from 2 to 3, maybe from 1:30 to 3. Just depends a little bit on how my class ends, but I'm going to just say safely 2 to 3. I'll just make the stream room now. It'll be a good hour, maybe an hour and a half. Some nice tinfoil talk, talking about quarterback, what we'll do in free agency, whether it's trying to make a move for starter, most likely going to be backup, unless you think Jimmy Garoppolo can beat a starting job for Tua. We'll talk a little bit about backup QB. We'll talk about maybe some trade options as well. We'll go down that rabbit hole. It's a conversation that I've not always wanted to talk about because I believe there are so many other things in this organization to focus on. But hey, it is a conversation that finally merits some talking as we get a little bit more clarity on it, with Lamar Jackson thinking of getting that franchise tag, with Brady retiring, with Sean Payton moving to the Broncos, with a lot of things starting to shake out. We'll get a little bit more clarity on the QB situation. So if you want to check that out tomorrow, that's awesome. For those still watching, check me out on Twitter. Check me out on YouTube at Nando Talk. Check me out for more positive Dolphins vibes. Always a pleasure. Always a fun time talking about the Dolphins. You know me, fins up, chins up, always giving the Dolphins positive vibes. There's so many things to talk about. We will be finally talking about quarterback tomorrow, but defensive coordinator, we still have no running backs on the roster still. We still probably need some middle linebacker help. Friday, we'll be looking to get a little bit more free agency, a little bit more at draft too, mainly just focusing on Friday, filling up holes, okay, for what the Dolphins can do to get better and to continue to improve. That's all we want to see, man. We can vent. We can be frustrated with this team. We have every right to gripe, to complain, to be heard. Our voices deserve to be heard. You deserve to fan how you choose to fan. But after you get that out of your system, you know, in the same way as, hey, if all you do is talk about problems, I want solutions. Same thing for the Dolphins, man. You can complain all you want, but at the end, let's come together and let's figure out how to get a solution, how to get better, and how to keep improving as a team. That's all we can do. We don't play, we don't coach, we just fan. So I always hope that the Dolphins are going to make the next best move. I always want to talk about it. I always want to speculate it. And tomorrow, Tinfoil Hat Thursday, will be a fun time to do so. So thank you for tuning in. It has been an awesome WAKATA Wednesday. First time with the webcam. Hope it came out nice. The phone never ended up working, but it's okay. We will figure it out tomorrow. I'll be tuning in. Thank you all for checking it out. Fins up, chins up, and I will see us all tomorrow. Bada bing, bada bang. It's been an awesome episode. Thank you for listening.